While working remotely, we all know that we are lacking a lot of communication channels. Simply, if we imagine a situation that we need to reach out to our colleague, we are not able to simply circle around the corner, see your colleague at the laptop, tap him or her on the shoulder and discuss the topic that you really need to discuss. So in this video, I would like to share the tips on how to keep your remote team engaged. Hey guys, this is Chris. Welcome back to my project management sandbox. Here we talk about managing projects, career in tech, and professional development. I'm working remotely for over 5 years by now, and during my career lifetime, I was always leading globally distributed teams and people that are located in different countries, in different time zones, but all of them were working on the same project. So I definitely know how to deal with the virtual teams and how to keep people engaged. So in this video, I would like to share 5 tips that I use and that I have been using on my projects in order to keep people engaged and motivated throughout the whole project lifecycle. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. To begin with, why do we need to undertake some specific activities or even to do anything to keep people engaged when we are working remotely? There are actually a few reasons for doing this, and I would like to briefly touch base on them. First of all, simply because people feel disconnected. To give you an example, for instance, many people have not been working remotely at all before we had this pandemic in 2020 or even before the latest days. So this means that most likely they're gonna be missing this environment when they're able to reach out to anybody they need in just a couple of minutes, simply passing by. So the very first reason why we really need to do this is because people feel lack of connectivity, especially when they are not used to work remotely or when they are not got used to work individually or in isolation. Probably isolation may sound rigidly, but this is how it is. When you work alone at home or maybe alone in your office, you are isolated from everybody else in your team who are distributed in different cities, countries, or even time zones. So this is something we need to deal with. As a result of this isolation, in a time people get used to not interact with somebody else on a regular basis. And this leads to the lack of initiative when it comes to communication. How many times have you heard that a developer didn't want to visit a daily stand-up, or for instance they simply didn't think of an opportunity to get together on a call to discuss some problem that requires a solution? This is a result of the remote work. In a while, people start not feeling the necessity of getting in touch with others. And making a step even further, when we do not permanently communicate and collaborate with others, we may simply do not feel this need to communicate, and this eventually leads to the low engagement. That means that even when someone may try to connect with you, you may start to be resistant and will try to look for all the opportunities to resolve the situation without getting on a call with this person. To me, such types of situations sound like a real bottom line. However, they still may happen, so we definitely do not want to be at this point. So what to do not to allow such types of situations to occur within your development team? Number one must-have thing is the established and detailed communication plan. This is the document where everybody has access to and where people can find all the necessary resources in order to permanently be informed about the updates on the project and where they can find relevant links or explicit information about some part of the project or where to find this information when they need. Like, for example, the links to the documentation, the links to repositories, the list of the people, like the list of the teammates with the contact information if they need to get in touch with somebody individually, and all other relevant details. By the way, don't forget to check this episode where I'm explaining how to build an efficient communication plan for your project. So to begin with, make sure that you have the established communication plan and that everybody is first introduced to it, everybody is familiar with information within this plan and have an access to all the relevant documentation, links and resources that are required in order to perform efficiently on the project. Secondly, when you know that everybody has all the necessary information in order to work efficiently on a project, everybody knows where to get tasks, what is the plan of meetings, when and how often do they meet, how long the meetings take, who should be present on each type of the meetings, and so on and so forth. Time to think about the possibility of adding one extra call. That's gonna happen probably once a month, and this call should be dedicated to hanging out with the team only. I'm talking about the cases when you are not able to connect with the people in person and you're not able just to go out somewhere, sit in a bar, sit in a park and chat all together. So this tip would work for the situations where all the teammates are distributed around the globe and you are not able to meet each other personally. I have dedicated 1 hour of our time in a month on Fridays when we do not have a lot of work or no crunches or no tasks that require special attention. So this should be some time after the release and in between all the tasks, so that everybody could distract from the standard activities and dedicate some time to hang out together with their teammates. And the main rule on such calls is not talking about the project. So what have I been doing? I have prepared a list of topics that are possible to be utilized during those calls, just in case we will not have anything to talk about, at least on the first calls, before we already have this connectivity. And I have introduced those topics to the team. They voted on which topic they would want to go forward with at the first time, and we just got started. So no chats about the project, only personal communication, and compulsory with a video camera. Number 3 in my list is extra Slack channels. Maybe you're not on Slack, maybe you're on Teams or on some other tool. In any case, chances are that there is a possibility to create some individual channels where you can invite people, and those channels could be dedicated to some specific topics. This is the proposal. Firstly, you definitely need to have the team channel, but apart from that, you can create other channels. Like for instance, a channel dedicated to sports, a channel dedicated to, I don't know, childcare, a channel dedicated to books. What is not less important, you can also create channels dedicated to some specific professional topics, which could help people to connect and efficiently collaborate when they need to solve some problem during their workdays. For instance, channels related to some specific programming language, or channels related to some tools, like for instance Git channels or Bitbucket channels or Jira channels, or I don't know, React Native channels. Because when you have a general channel, sometimes it might be challenging for people just to spam there. They really think this is spamming when they ask for assistance in a common channel. So that's why having individual and separated channels dedicated to some specific topics could be really beneficial and more efficient in the communication. Number 4 in my list is the team website. Yeah, you heard me right. On one of my projects for the team, I have created a separate website, like aka our newspaper or news, where I have been posting information like general updates on the project, general updates in the company, general updates in the team, for instance, who have birthdays or some specific events. Also, I've been posting information about vacations, when people are taking vacations, so that everybody is informed what people are going to be absent. And not only this, there were kind of a blog where I have been posting updates when we have reached some specific target or some specific goal on a project or individually, so that people could be aware about good events and so that they could celebrate them all together. And I have a fifth tip for you, and actually I have borrowed it from my colleague. Let's call it the personal room to chat. So what does it mean? Sometimes people need to have a conversation, but probably they do not feel comfortable to reach out in DM, or probably they do not feel comfortable even to reach out to you at any case, because maybe you're too busy, maybe you're always overwhelmed with calls, and so on and so forth. Sometimes one-on-ones can work for this if you have scheduled calls in the specific period of time. However, there might be situations when teammates are not ready to wait for the next month in order to meet with you on one-on-one. They potentially need support, advice, or a conversation about some situation right away. So what's possible to be done here? Take your calendar, find a tiny slot for 30 minutes and block it throughout the week. Create a meeting for the slot and give the access to this room to all of your teammates. And just let them know that you are going to be in this meeting room every day for this 30 minutes at the same time when you have it in the calendar. And if they need to address something or just probably they need some support, let them just join this meeting on demand. Sometimes there might be days when nobody is coming and you just have this 30 minutes for yourself to do your personal stuff, to work on your daily routine. On the other side, there are gonna be days when people are joining and you're going to have some conversations. Give this opportunity to your team and I guarantee you will see a result. Thank you so much for watching it till the end. If you do have more tips on how to engage with a distributed virtual team, feel free to add them in the comments below. Thank you once again, don't forget to give it a like and see you in the next video.